Do you know that?
Recording is on.
Okay.
Sí, está bien, tía, está bien.
Shri Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam
Everybody can mute.
Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamshra Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaye Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Nitinamine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayeva cha Patitanam Bhavanevyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Om Vrindaya Tulsi Devyai Priyaye Keshavasya cha Krishna Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we'll do just a very quick kirtan and then we'll introduce Prabhuji and then we'll continue. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama, Hare
Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe. Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe.
Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe. Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe. Jai Radhe, Jai Krishna, Jai Radhe, Jai Shri Krishna. Krishna Bhanu Nandini, Radhe Radhe, Krishna Bhanu Nandini, Radhe Radhe. Krishna.
Jaya Radha
जय सचिनंदन जय गौरा हरि जय सचिनंदन जय गौरा हरि जय गुरुदेवा गुरुदेवा जय Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Premanande Hari Hari.
Hare Hare Bo.
So hopefully we'll get more, but want to first introduce Prabhuji. So as our first speaker, so Prabhuji, Sriman Gurudas Prabhuji, he is one of the very first pioneering disciples of Srila Prabhupada. He was initiated in 1967 when Srila Prabhupada first came to San Francisco. So he was one of the first devotees, one of the first or original 6 devotees who started Krishna consciousness in England and establishing a temple there, also meeting and recording with the famous Beatles, as well as George Harrison. He was also one of the first disciples to join Srila Prabhupada in India, joining the International Sankirtan Party. And he was also president and in charge of building the Krishna Balaram Mandir that we know in Vrindavan Dham. So many of the pictures that we've seen of the really rare, iconic early pictures of Srila Prabhupada, they've actually been taken by Prabhuji, which is so amazing. And right now, Prabhuji, at least in the last few years, in 2015, he took up the work of being and founding and becoming the president of the Vedic Care Charity Trust or Charitable Trust, which is basically a global initiative focused on providing a loving oasis of spiritual and preventative holistic health care for elderly, as well as, offering many other resources for elderly, isolated, and forgotten devotees. So we're very, very, very fortunate to have Prabhuji with us. And later Rasangi Didi will also speak. But for now, Prabhuji, please introduce this very much needed topic, and we'll take it from here. Haribo.
Omagina Trimandasya Jana Jana Salahija Chaksus Milatam Jena Dasme Shri Gurave Nama. What a lovely kirtan. Thank you. I applaud you. You are the future, young folks. We can learn from each other and even make the world a better place. I was looking at some art with Srila Prabhupada in Nandagan on the temple, and Prabhupada said to me, art means full belly. He said, people who are starving cannot have the luxury of watching art and appreciating like we are. And people who are surviving cannot appreciate Krishna consciousness. So let us feed every quarter. Art means full belly. So it means that we must take care of our mind, body, and soul. Mental health issues are due to genetics and environment. That's the official definition. Genetics means our karma, and environment is the material world of duality. So we can nurture and involve ourselves in nature. The first stage of healing is owning and identifying our problems. So I will identify some of the possible pitfalls in our devotional services. As devotees, we tend to overlook our basic behavioral points. Rasangi can verify, Raghavendra can verify that in the beginning, we were very austere. And it was in vogue to be renounced. And it sometimes meant we were neglecting our body. And when we heard the term, we are not this body, it meant artificial renunciation. I mean, we were sleeping on our dhotis and saris if we had one. But what that means is we don't identify with our body. We are spiritual souls. Now we know better. Like today's meeting, it's evolution. We've come a long way. We have more information at our disposal. And if we use it to make the world a better place, it's a wonderful thing. From our childhood, most people, many people have low self-esteem. Even if their parents were nice to them, there's the world, there's the school, there's the red light, there's the green light. Don't do this, don't do that. And then children sometimes were told things like, I wish you were never born. So they have very low self-esteem. And so as devotees, we may have some spiritual advancement, but I give the analogy, the example, that it's like a man with one leg, very strong, and the other leg is limping along because it hasn't defined, actually submerged these so many psychological issues, and they're not defined, and they're just brushed over with a broad paintbrush that says, okay, well, chanting and this. And yes, that is a positive alternative. I'll get to that. But even with this, in this, it's such a high standard that sometimes, many times, leads to judgments and gossips. Instead of helping one another, we tend to find the fault. And that's like Prabhupada said, like a fly on the sores. We're honeybees, Madhukari. We like to share. We like to give love. And the thing is, as devotees, we have positive alternatives. However, that needs to be enhanced with psychological help. There was a psychiatrist named Byrne and another one named Bradshaw, Games People Play and the Wounded Child. He identified these issues. He said that we as adults, now we know more, and as adults, parent your own child inside of yourself. Because we're all children crying out for the love of Krishna. And the world sometimes says fight or flee. But as devotees, there's a third thing. I told this to Ken Kesey, or observe. So we're going through similar challenges. But now as youth, you may be going through more challenges. When we were young, the time was slower. You could leave your bike unlocked. You can drink water out of a hose. People's words were their bond. Now we're in an impersonal world, distracted by screens, computers, phones. The social media was created by gamblers to keep us addicted. I have 5,000 some odd Facebook friends, and I know maybe 108. But it can be a tool depending on how we use it. The knife is a scalpel or a murder weapon. So moderation and balance. But screens keep us from interacting. And then there's nature. Prabhupada said nature is one of the highest manifestations of Krishna. So even though I'm on the screen, I definitely balance it out with real life. And I encourage that. And also, in the modern world, there's cryptic things, there's different ways of communicating. It's like sometimes devotees, they say Hari Bol Prabhu as a way to not interact. And that's the same as saying, surf's up, dude. It's a non-conversation. So the thing is, we want to really converse with each other because that's the first two aspects of Vaishnava love, hearing and speaking your mind. And I'll get to that more. A beautiful thing Prabhupada said to me regarding this false renunciation. There's enough tapasya in the world that we don't have to give ourselves any more unnecessarily. We don't have to invite austerities because the world gives us enough. That means be good to yourself, like yourself. Rasangi's going to get into some ideas of how we can like ourselves in the book of Dharma. It's a great tool. I'm going to mention that. But people should not judge each other without walking a mile in the other's sandals. Now we're older and we can understand more, so we can be our parents' self and we can make right choices and we can own our mistakes and learn from them. We're only human. In other words, Krishna loves us as we are. Achinta Bheda Bheda Tattva. But we also share, we have a beautiful positive alternative, Krishna consciousness. We have ideal goals. We have sadhu sangha like today, association. We have our sadhana and we have seva. And seva is a beautiful thing. When you give, you receive. There's a verse. My ever-fresh sweetness is tasted by my devotees according to the nature and strength of their love. Krishna, seeing the good fortune of my devotees, I too did desire and relish my sweetness in the reflection in Radharani's matchless love. And we have in our everyday vocabulary, in this Krishna oasis, the holy names, terms from the books, modes of goodness, Prabhu, Prasadam, Ahimsa, Hari Bol. And we were on the train passing Kurukshetra, Prabhupada and I, just the two of us, first class. And he said, when you say Prabhu to me, I don't think I am master, but it means how can I serve you? We're each Prabhus. Das Anu Das. Das Anu Das can save the world. That simple concept that I want your success and you want my success, and we serve each other, and then we don't have any wants, and then everybody's happy. So we want to empathize with each other. I met Mother Teresa, and I can see how she really looked into other people's hearts. And Prabhupada did too. We were on the morning walk, and there were some ducks, and one audacious devotee said, "Get out of the way, the Swami's walking." And they were grumpily getting up and whack, whack, whack. And Prabhupada looked over and said, "As you are thinking they're disturbing us, they are thinking we are disturbing them." Then I fell in love with him as my guru. It was their habitat, and I saw, look how he's looking in everybody's heart. And we have something called transparent via media, which means when we chant and when we read, or we have a guru, or we have a pet or a baby, we're giving love and receiving it. Why I say pets and babies, when you're talking to a dog, do you want to go for a walk? The dog doesn't understand English, but he understands the tone and the love, and they give love. So again, Das Anudas can save the world. Another wonderful quote: happiness is derived from pure devotional service. It is the highest because it is eternal. Lord Shiva said that. So we have some advantages. We have Radha and Krishna's empowering us, and we have choices, and we have forgiveness. Forgiveness. Prabhupada said to me one day, he liked to tease me, and that was beautiful, because if you get to a point where you're teased, it's really love. So he said, if you do something and I don't forgive you, Krishna will forgive you. And if Krishna doesn't forgive you, Radharani will. He was strict by his example, but he was also flexible due to the concept time, place, and circumstance. Flexibility, forgiveness, and fun. Flexibility. Somebody decided to take our Lord Jagannath for a walk in Golden Gate Park. Prabhupada's running with me. He heard about it. He's running. He gets to the park. He said, Lord Jagannath only goes out of the temple once a year. I'll tell you later. We were getting spoon-fed. But then he said, as long as we're here, let's sit down and chant. And then somebody brought an amp. And then forgiving. The story of Malati stealing butter. She stole a whole big flat of butter. And Prabhupada saw it over in the window. And he calls her up and says, so you have stolen the butter? We should not steal. Other people's property is like stool. It's Krishna's property. But he forgave, and he said, but if we have to steal, Krishna's called Makanchur. And so if you do have to steal, then steal butter. And then he told her the story of Krishna. And then he was always fun. Prabhupada, there's ants on the prasadam. That's all right. They won't eat very much. And we have a place to go, Vaikuntha. Here's another fun. I have fooled them, Gurudas. Who, Prabhupada? The mosquitoes. He was sitting on the ground. They have gone up. He even got off the Vyasasan in Calcutta, one thing to get the mosquitoes off. But this was in his room. And he said, I have fooled them. Oh, the mosquitoes, they're rising to the ceiling. So I, like a child, said, Prabhupada, are there mosquitoes in Vaikuntha, in Krishna Loka? And he says, they don't bite, they sing. So how can we love Krishna? In the India-Pakistan war, everybody was covering the windows. In Delhi, we're in a dharmshala. And Prabhupada refused to. And so an ad hoc committee came and said, Swamiji, why aren't you covering the windows? And Prabhupada said, if Krishna wants to kill you, no one can save. And Krishna wants to save you, no one kill. They said, but what if the bomb should come? And I was I was standing up because we were a team. I was making sure everybody had water and a place to sit. I was standing up, and he looks up and he said, "Then I will see the bomb as Krishna." Everything. The Lakotas say it's a good day to die. So every moment is special. And he said, enthusiasm is the backbone. So when we do acts, we want to have full intent. Rasangi is going to talk about things. Then we want to do things together. Prabhupada also quoted, if there is failure, no one is to blame. And if we do it together, everyone is glorified. Another time he said, "How do you know Krishna is God?" I said, "You told us." He said, "I'm an old man." Bhagavad Gita says, that could be a book. You know Krishna is God by the ecstasy you feel. The proof of the pudding's in the eating. So this is the process from the early stages, the fundamentals. Then it becomes spontaneous and fun and an adventure. Every day, Nava Yovana is fresh. And also another possible fitball is, as a community organization, we're in a fishbowl existence. So peer behavior may lead to preconceived thoughts, making people act in similar conforming ways just to please each other, which suppresses our own individuality. If everything's preconceived, we don't have our poetic, intuitive side in decision making. So as a community, we must be kind and not judgmental to each other. We're in the same boat. And we also have a unique relationship with Krishna. As I said, Achinta Bheda Tattva. Prabhupada, another lesson, said, be as independent as possible. He was washing a cloth in a bucket. And I said, I'll do it. He said, no, be as independent as possible. I'll do it. And then he showed me how to roll a chapati with a Limca soda bottle. And then he took the Limca bottle away like a samurai, put it down and did it with his hand. He says, be as independent as possible. And he said, that's why I like my own cooking. So one key to our mental health is how we treat each other with compassion and understanding. We must be kind to one another. How many people are chanting? How many people are offering prasadam, reading Bhagavad Gita? Even in different sanghas, we're doing the same thing. It's a fire laser beam focused of similar things. And even in different religions, we're doing similar things. So we must blur these artificial separations, find the common ground and harmony. And that means we take care of one another. But I remember many people were afraid to open up and reveal their hearts because someone might tell the authorities. However, the authorities are Kshatriyas, and the Kshatriya of old took care of their people. And the community is judged by how they take care of their people. And we've dropped the ball in many ways. So we now can change this. We can do this. I'll talk later about Vedic care, but the vision is that every devotee of Krishna will be taken care of. As I said, two aspects of Vaishnava: love to hear and speak your mind. So one of the solutions, as I've indicated today, is that we can actually have support groups for one another. Marriage couples are very difficult sometimes in marriage. Your wife loves two people more than you. I mean, Jamuna did. She loved Prabhupada and Krishna, so I was third fiddle. At any rate, no, we had a good marriage, but what I'm saying is there are many pitfalls, and there's also a wonderful course, which if we sign up, I can train people how to do this. It's put together by devotees, modern. all these pitfalls, but even in a more extensive way with workshops. So one of the solutions is that we have support groups. We have tools like the Book of Dharma. It would be really good to have communal projects, even businesses. We started Spiritual Sky. Wouldn't it be better if the devotees were doing some Krishna consciousness employment than having to go someplace else and not think of Krishna for another employee? It's counterproductive. So, as young folks, get together, decide business. You have the media. As I said, it's a tool, even though it was set up by gamblers. It's also a tool, the social media. So I use it as a tool. So that's one of the things. We have Sevā, and something I'm doing is the Vedic Care Cooperative, because I saw the need. There are many devotees giving their life for Krishna. They were in the kitchen for 40 years, and nobody treated them like they treat me. They weren't celebrities, yet they were just as important, giving their service to Krishna. The hierarchy is like this, not like that. We're all important. The cook and the temple president, they just have different expertise. We're all the same. So I decided to start this Vedic Care. We have a small film now. Thank you very much.
So I'll share the video now, Prabhuji.
Okay.
So you want to show it, Anuradha Didi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And you can hear it too, right?
Yeah.
The Vedic Care Cooperative was founded in 2015 out of a desire to provide care for ailing, isolated, forgotten and poor devotees, as well as spiritual seekers in general.
Vedic Care was an idea to protect devotees, to care for devotees that have been giving their life for Krishna. Prabhupada said those who are giving their life for Krishna should be cared for. So this is the idea of Vedic Care. Care for devotees is very important.
The VCC is an international member supported organisation, an umbrella association for facilitating retirement homes wherein residents will be offered kirtan, guitar, classes, seminars, consulting, counselling, health plans and other creative projects. Our retirement resources will allow Vaishnavas to spend their later years in like-minded association, instead of being cared for in isolation, reacting to the symptoms of sickness alone. Staffed hospice facilities and Vedic transition support will be available through this international cooperative, as well as assisting in homes and hospitals, with all care based on love and trust. With a focus on preventative care, we can ease the pain and suffering together. Transcending political, divisive factions, we will simply welcome those in need, concentrating on compassionate care. Since we began, we have cared for more than 100 devotees in need. We now have a solid team of qualified healthcare professionals assisting us with our efforts, and we are identifying more doctors, nurses and healthcare workers to join with us. We've been given a 23-room hospital facility in Vrindavan by the Muji Trust to repair and open as a holistic healing centre. VCC is, in addition, active in creating assisted living facilities in Vancouver, Canada, a new Govardhan farm in Australia. We have 2 rooms in Nueva Vrindavan, located in Spain. There are ongoing developments in Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, the Czech Republic, and in Alachua, Florida. The vision continues with residential communities that involve association and service, and then assisted living facilities with professional doctors and or nurses on the premises. We've also started a grassroots sewing business in Vrindavan, hiring 5 rich Basi women who are creating crafts to support themselves and raise funds for the VCC. In the United Kingdom, we started with a family atmosphere, and we at the VCC are continuing this with each other and everyone in a spirit of love and trust. In the UK, we offer seminars, marriage counselling, women's and men's groups, and also a phone health service line for medical, spiritual, and psychological counselling. Many people need a professional, empathetic listener who is compassionate and understanding. All consultations are confidential. We may be spiritually advanced, but not psychologically whole. Many childhood issues are unresolved and suppressed. Many people have low self-esteem issues because their parents and society did not nourish them. We at the VCC can help with both spiritual and psychological problems, mind, body and soul, in a holistic setting based on love and trust. Our UK team include the well-known Sri Kama Devi Dasi, Ram Nrsinga Das, Surabi Kunj Devi Dasi, Bhakti Pradeep Parabrajaka Swami, Akrura Das, Pranaji, Bhakta Avatar Das, Sangeeta Devi Dasi, Mathura Leela Devi Dasi, Dr. Karol Chapman, also known as Chaitanya Priya Devi Dasi, Sachin Kaushaliya, Vishal Bidev, Subhadra Priya Devi Dasi, and Anadyavangi Devi Dasi. We at the VCC are also in close coordination with the Bhaktivedanta Manor authorities regarding the health of all devotees in the UK. We are currently inviting volunteers and ambassadors to join us to assess people in need, find places for care facilities, and assist with fundraising. During this new challenge during the global pandemic, we, the Vedic Care Charitable Trust, are rebuilding and relaunching our service and efforts to not only care for those in need, but to continue our counselling, medical advice, and to repair and build a hospital facility in Vrindavan.
Wonderful.
So I'll just be very brief. The vision was that every devotee needed care. We have the facility to do it around the world. We build planetariums, farms, restaurants. We protect cows. What about devotees? The first is outreach. Every place you can assist people in homes and hospitals. Usually it's reactive. We can do it preventative with teams. We're doing it in places. Then there's assisted living, vibrant, not just waiting to die, Krishna conscious, vibrant places where we can still, even if they're invalid, they can do activities, tell their stories, make films, kirtan in every room, vibrant assisted living, then hospice in a separate place, and then Shraddha services, transition. And the outreach is great because it assists people, even if they're not Vaishnavas. We have MP3 that people can listen to in their ear instead of television. And we bring prasadam. But we wouldn't have to bring prasadam if we had our own places. So we really need some more people. We need some volunteers. And as you are the future, any young folks that are hearing this, please contact me. There's so many ways to get involved. The website is vediccarecharity.org. I believe Anurudhi Radha did post it someplace. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Haribol, Haribol. Did you want to write that in the chat, the address, or you have it somewhere else, Anuradha?
I can post it in the chat. I just need to, I'll copy it from the website. It's on youthseva.com, but I'll also share it here too. And then just maybe this can be addressed later, or that it can be addressed now. There's a couple like anonymous questions. So one question was the role of parental relationships in adult life to mental wellness. Another one was in the prioritization structure, Srila Prabhupada emphasized, he put health first above sadhan, since we must maintain our bodies. How can one balance the responsibilities of our sadhana against our mind's justifications regarding what is and isn't ideal for our health? Like, one may think they need X amount of hours of sleep, etc., but at the same time find that they can't complete their rounds unless they get up early. So what's the balance between tapasya and caring for one's health in a proper way?
So the first question, do
Uh,
you want me to answer what I think now, or
Sure, or at the end.
That's fine.
okay? The first question was regarding parental health from the parents' point of view.
Yes, role of the parental relationships in adult life with mental wellness.
I met a pioneer in mental health. His name was R.D. Lang in England. And his whole idea of schizophrenia was much different than the clinical ones. And when I worked with mentally challenged people, I could see inside and just be compassionate. And they were so grateful. And even though they were hearing voices, I asked, do you believe in God? And some said yes. It's very interesting in the midst of schizophrenia. So the parents should understand that their children are different individuals, and to protect them and try to understand. And it's not always easy. It's a burden of love. But try to understand and do as much positive reinforcement as possible, as Prabhupada did, as my parents did. It's easy to find fault, but and you do want to be disciplined. You don't want to neglect your principles, but if you explain why as a person, that's communication. Same thing in marriages, communication with a capital C. So hopefully someday all the unrecognized sacrifice that parents do, someday it may hopefully be recognized by your example, by your kindness, by your understanding and compassion. But at the same time, again, it doesn't mean neglect your principles. Prabhupada was strict, but he was flexible.
Also, I believe that it's very important to know that like what is on the core of this movement or of this philosophy is the unconditional love, right? The unconditional love that we try to feel or that we try to achieve out of spontaneity, right? So that's something that it's also potentially within us, right? And that's something that we as parents want to develop, right? So it's getting aside all those expectations, tossing aside all those projections that you have that are pretty much your own story, right? It's pretty much your own invention, and let the kids be kids, right? And try to guide them, try to understand them and try to support them to our fullest, but also letting them know that there are boundaries, right? And then there are consequences if you don't do your duty, right?
And touching the fire. But what you said is really good, because they are individuals, and sometimes children, especially in India, for instance, they're influenced by what their parents want them to be. Their parents want them to be a doctor or a lawyer. The person wants to be an actor or artist, whatever. So, what the good thing is to encourage their talents, find out what they love to do, and encourage that. That's Bhakti Yoga. And Prabhupada never forced us. It was out of love. Okay, the second question, would you mind repeating that again?
Sure, Prabhuji. So it's in the prioritization structure, Srila Prabhupada emphasized, he put health first above sadhana, since we must maintain our bodies. How can one balance the responsibilities of our sadhana against our mind's justifications regarding what is and isn't ideal for our health? Like, one may think they need X amount of hours of sleep, etc., but at the same time find that they cannot complete their rounds unless they get up early. So what's the balance between tapasya and caring for one's health in a proper way?
Prabhupada said to be natural. One of our Sanskrit scholars was traveling with Prabhupada. He was saying he didn't have any hot milk, and Prabhupada said, you're not having any milk? And he was saying, well, if I have it, I have trouble getting up. And Prabhupada said, well, sleep when you sleep, eat when you're hungry, and sleep when you're sleepy. And be as independent as possible is contrary to what we think. We're dependent but independent. So what that means is try to balance it. Even when I was in the Eastern European countries, there was very little bhog, prasadam. And Prabhupada said, even if you have to eat meat, do that to preach.
Wow.
And many times Samashunda and I were running around and we didn't have time to chant the rounds. And Prabhupada understood it because it superseded. Of course, it's our comfort, it's our ritual, it's our sadhana, but time, place, and circumstance. So if people can try to balance it, sometimes 4 rounds at a time, and then another time 4 rounds all at once, there's little tricks. Prabhupada taught me how to chant on my fingers in case I was in jail. So, be as natural as possible. Try to balance it. Don't beat yourself up. Krishna doesn't want that. He loves you for trying. So yes, Prabhupada gave us 16 rounds to keep us off the street, etc. It engaged us, but even if you don't, if you're chanting sincerely, Krishna hears that. So just try to balance it out. And also, as I say, don't beat yourself unnecessarily. You're sincere and you're trying. You made the choice to be devotees. That's already a choice. That's great. Everything else is glorious from there.
So I think that it's also important to note that sometimes as devotees, we tend to beat in ourselves, right? We tend to try to be like the lowest of the lowest and the most humble of the humble, and sometimes that fires back on us, right? We start having negative impressions upon ourselves, and we start being negative about ourselves, right? So I feel like if you love and approve of yourself, you're loving and approving of Krishna's creation, right? You're loving and approving of Paramatma that lives within you. So when you love and approve of yourself and you try to cultivate yourself and you try to improve of yourself, then it's like if you were doing seva at every single moment. So it's a powerful thing, I believe.
You're absolutely right. Sometimes people would say to me, "Oh, you're a worthless servant," in false humility. And I think Krishna would rather have a worthy, vibrant person coming to him with full love of themselves, full consciousness and intention of loving themselves. Krishna doesn't want us to be robots, automatons, and not loving ourselves as well as him. We're his creation.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. One thing Radha Mataji, she shared in the chat, she said that number one principle for mental well-being that parents can offer their children is acceptance of all their children's feelings, even the unpleasant ones, anger, despondency, etc. All feelings are acceptable. Parents are allies and emotional supporters of children. Accepting feelings is 100%, but it is important for parents to limit certain actions. So the kid can be mad, but they may not punch someone or damage property. They can express their anger in a non-destructive manner, journaling, jumping on a trampoline, punching a pillow, etc. Suppressed feelings is often a trigger for mental distress.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Very nice.
And I believe that all of this, we need like a toolbox, right? So we are able to address all of this everyday leaks or everyday situations that we have in our lives. And that's exactly what Prasangi Didi is going to talk about. She's got a powerful set of tools for every day that will help us bring all that philosophy that it's so high and so elevated, and it's the most powerful philosophy that we could ever found. But sometimes we cannot understand it because it's up there and we live down here. We still need to deal with our day life situations. We need to still dealing with earning a living. What am I going to eat tomorrow? What I'm going to eat in the next couple of hours? All those kind of things. So I want to introduce you to Rasangi Devi Dasi. She's also an early disciple from His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. She joined in 1973, if I'm not mistaken, in Philadelphia. Correct, Didi?
No, in
Pennsylvania?
in Washington, D.C.
All right, in Washington, D.C. So she is a licensed marriage and family therapist in California. And she's been studying the Book of Dharma. It's a book by Simon Hass, also known as Sundar Gopal Das Prabhu. And it brings ancient principles from the scriptures that enable us to make enlightened choices to uplift the quality of our life. So please, Prasangi Didi, it's my honor to introduce you. So please go ahead. Let's go ahead and share my screen.
Haribol, I'm so happy to be here. And I wanted to talk a little bit first, Govinda Prabhu. I wanted to say, for those that are kind of anonymous, I still would like to hear what brings you here. Why did you come to this webinar? It's on mental health and devotee mental health. And I'm wondering what you would like to get out of this, what you're thinking you can write it in the chat box if you like. But it's important to know that, we know that there's a need. Anuradha Didi told us that there have been suicides, young devotee suicides. There's anguish, confusion, depression amongst our own devotee family. And we can help, we need to help. And I think if someone can mute, I think I hear an echo background. And then that's great. So that's my idea. I've been working in substance use disorders for the last 2.5 years. Before that, in foster care and adoption. But I see people getting well. I see people giving up addictions and becoming happy, becoming more focused, and developing skills to live a life worth living. And so I'm excited to be able to share what I've learned with our devotee communities. And I know that seeking mental health services has not been very popular, especially when I was a young devotee. We would not have thought to go to outside therapists for help, and nor did we have the services within our communities. So that's a dilemma, that's a conundrum, because otherwise we cannot be all that we can be. We can't be the best. We can't be our best. We need help. And so hopefully within our devotee communities, we can offer such guidance and support, and people can maybe get over the stigma of seeking outside help. In the name of doing it to serve Krishna, we can do those things. We're all trying to serve Krishna. We may need to go to a doctor who's not a devotee. We may need to do so many things that are not directly coming from devotees, and mental health is something else. So people should not be fearful of getting the help they need with mental health because they're not devotees. But again, here we are trying to offer what we have found to be effective. And I'm excited to be here. And I look forward to hearing from you, whoever you are. I think that some of you are shy, not wanting to reveal yourself, although we'd love to hear your voices and see you as well. So now,
also, Didi, I think that it's important to clear some misconceptions, and all these tools that you're going to present are a great, are great for that sake, right? Like for example, that it's my karma. I have this, right? Like now I have to deal with this. Like nobody is entitled to suffer from a mental health condition or for any bodily condition. It's okay to look for help. It's okay to speak up, right? It's okay to share your mind, as Gurudas Prabhu was saying.
Yes. And I love the idea of support groups. We need to become strong, my dear devotee friends. We need to become strong and healthy so we can do the work at hand. The world needs us to be in great shape, in great spirit, and mentally strong and emotionally happy. And then we can bring Mahaprabhu's movement to the world till our last dying days. So why don't you go back to the beginning? Oh, this is it. So that's it. So that's the Dharma bull, in case nobody didn't know. And the Dharma bull is really the origin of these teachings. If somebody could read this slide, then we can discuss it. Who would like to read it?
I can read it. The undiscovered self. Teachings of Dharma were once reserved primarily for queens and kings. Optimal choices require an optimal state of being. Dharma comes from the Sanskrit for uphold, support, or sustain. Dharma equals lift in life. When Dharma is present, it feels as if we are acting in complete accord with the universe. 3 laws of perception. Perception is creative. The universe is like a large mirror. The way we look at it is how it looks back at us. By changing our perception, we change our world.
So this is just an overview of this wonderful book of teachings by our dear friend Sundar Gopal, who's now, he's a lawyer, and he was a disciple of Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Maharaj, who served him for 16 years quite intimately. He was sleeping on his floor for the last 3 months of his life. And he's a lawyer, and now he's at Oxford. Getting his PhD in the origin of the soul, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And so what I want to say about this is the teachings of Dharma, as we know in Srimad Bhagavatam, these were kept secret. They were guarded by Brahmins. And you know why they were guarded, folks? They were guarded because of the power that they have. They have a potency that is like amazing and undaunted. It's like it gives you a sense of lift and empowerment. So they didn't want these skills to get into the wrong hands, because that would be detrimental to the planet. As we can see with Hiranyakashipu, he was very powerful, but he misused his power. So these teachings of Dharma were kept secret for many, 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 many years. In order to like we heard before, the book of Dharma is about making enlightened choices. So it's about us becoming clear and being able to make the best possible choices so that we can create the best possible outcomes. And then Dharma in life equals lift. What it is that it's like you have an airplane with a beautiful form and powerful wings, but it won't go anywhere unless it has speed. It has to get up to a few hundred miles per hour. It has to go up very fast to get high in the sky. So the Dharma principles are considered like the speed that it takes to get the airplane off the ground. And it's true, when Dharma is present, it feels like we're acting in accord with the universe. Life takes a different feel. It takes it becomes a blessing, not a burden. And then perception is creative. The universe is like a large mirror. The way we look at it is how it looks back at us. So we can learn this. These are just like tips of the iceberg. It's said that these teachings are like a spool of thread, and you have one end and you throw the spool out and it unfolds for yards and yards and yards. So these sutras are also like that. They are unfold, and they empower, and they reveal.
And the most important thing is that it has a practical implication. You can be practical about it. You can take action and implement those actions to your daily life. You might be thinking, but I'm not a king, or I'm not a queen. I don't even have a kingdom. Yes, we do have a kingdom. Our own perceptual world is our kingdom, right? So we want to make sure that we're taking right decisions for our kingdom, right? If the ruler of a territory is a Dharma queen or a Dharma king, then Dharma will be present at that kingdom, right? So that's the importance of perception, right? How we create our world through our thoughts and through our emotions, and the world is not how we. I mean, the world's not the way it is. The world is the way we see it. So this is powerful.
So the reason that I've become so, I took a seminar in Alachua about 5 years ago. And right after that seminar, I was given this book. And she just said, Rasangidi, I think you'd like this book. And once I started, I couldn't put it down. And because my field is psychology, and there's so many systems out there that are very good. But as far as I'm concerned, these Dharma teachings provide everything those other systems can offer, and they come from Vishnu himself, the Lord himself. And we'll hear about Shastric references at the end. This is all very documented, through Shastra. And I feel like, it's given by our beloved Lord. So why not? This is the ultimate system for well-being and mental health, physical health, and happiness are in our own teachings of Dharma. Okay, go ahead. Next slide. Truth.
So
Somebody can
now,
read this.
now we're jumping into the principles themselves. So would you like to give a little introduction of what the principles are, Didi, so we can like have an overview?
So there's 4 principles, as we know in our teachings. The 4 legs of the bull are truthfulness, truth. Then there's ahimsa, nonviolence, which Mahatma Gandhi made very famous. And then there is purity, and there's discipline. The thing is that they mean much more than we think they mean. There's so much more meaning to these principles that we have no idea about at this point. So that's why studying these principles is very revelatory. It creates a big expansion in consciousness. So, and I'm gonna. This is this one thing in the beginning. Would somebody like to read that?
Truth in our thoughts, words, and actions. The great soul or Mahatma says what he thinks and does what he says. Truth in our thoughts.
Bhumi, you would like to say something? Bhumi, you can unmute. I thought Bhumi was going to want to speak. Maybe she put something in the chat. I love this. Okay, I'm going to take the questions after, but I love that you're putting questions in there.
So
Okay, I unmuted.
Okay, good.
Okay, I was just raising my hand because you were asking for readers.
Oh, go ahead, read, Bhumi.
Go ahead, read, please, Didi.
Okay, but is there no? But somebody else is reading, so I don't want to take.
Go ahead, please.
Where am I reading from?
The second truth in our thoughts.
Is it on the
Your screen. You should have it on your screen.
Really? Oh, I just see where. I guess I'm not prepared. I don't see it. I see people, Rasangi and Govinda, but I don't see what we're reading.
Oh, if you click on, it should say GD or Govinda Das, then you'll be able to pull up his screen.
Oh, okay. So Govinda Das. Raghavinda. Go here. Guru Das. No, Govinda Das. Okay. Okay, got it. So I'm reading truth.
Yes.
Okay. Truth in our thoughts, words, and actions. The great soul or Mahatma says what he thinks and does what he says.
Okay, next.
Truth in our thoughts. We oppose truth with our thoughts whenever we refuse to see things clearly about ourselves, about others, or about our situation. If we can build our life on truth, the life we build will be upheld by the universe itself.
So for those of you that are here, we're all here for mental health to talk about that. So this is a big part of the beginnings of mental health. We need to be able to be honest, truthful with ourselves about ourselves, what we see and our situation in order to be able to change it. So that's something that's a little different, but it's very, very important. We can't keep on living in illusion or thinking it's one way when it's really another way. We need to become very honest. Okay, truth in speech, Bhumi.
Truth in speech. When we maintain truth in our speech, both to others and to ourselves, our speech becomes imbued with great potency, because when we speak truth, the universe speaks through us.
I think Mahatma Gandhi said that, didn't he? He said, I may be the biggest rascal, but when I speak truth, the universe speaks through me.
Okay.
So we need to be truthful in our speech, be honest, not abusive, not rude to anyone else, but honest, and learn how to do it kindly, with finesse. Okay, truth in behavior.
Only when we act in alignment with truth or the reality of things are our efforts self-sustaining. The principle of truth is about seeing things clearly.
And with truth again. Okay, this is the principle of truth, the first principle of Dharma, and the last leg on the bull in the age of Kali. And it's going fast because there's so much lying going on, so many lies being told. So we need to become truthful if we want to become messengers of this highest truth. Okay, truth to our own nature. What's that about?
Truth is about insisting. Okay. Truth is about insisting always upon ourselves and never pretending to be anyone else. Is about relinquishing facades and disguises when we dishonor who we are. We live against truth, bringing instability and weakness into life.
This is so important. And Gurudas was touching on this before. We've been told by parents, by grandparents, by society, who we should be. But it's not honest, it's not truthful, it's not real. We have to discover who we are. We have to do that from within ourselves.
Also, if in one hand, if the universe is speak through us when we are speaking truth, on the other hand, it takes a great deal of energy to sustain a lie. So it's such a great deal of energy that you will be drained. Do you feel like you're just not yourself? So that's the importance of being truth. Especially in our own deals, right? In our own deeds.
And our own dealings, our own lives, with myself, not lying to myself. And so I love, Gurudas told us this. This is a quote from Oscar Wilde. Be yourself. Everybody else is taken. Be yourself. So this Dharma teachings are all about helping us find who we really are, uncovering the diamond within us. It's all about peeling away the layers that society and generations of ancestors have laid upon us. Really becoming exactly who we are and manifesting that in the world. Okay, next slide. And if anybody has any questions, please speak up or write it in the box. So any questions about any of these Dharma principles, okay? Okay, read the next one, somebody, whoever, unmute and read.
Purity, making our heart a sacred space. What we focus on, we become. To protect our world, it's important to make the field of now a sacred space free from negativity. Our attention is the mind's zoom tool, enlarging everything in its field. Life unfolds in the here and now. This is the arena of life, the sacred enclosure that needs protection.
And that little quote at the top, energy flows where attention goes. So this is about, and purity doesn't mean bathing twice a day or washing your hands a lot. Purity means creating a sacred space in your life, free from negativity and toxicity. Do you know what I mean? So whether that's coming from television, I always say I kind of stopped watching cop shows. I used to love to watch those kind of shows. I rarely watch anything like that now because they add an element of toxicity. So we need to protect our environment and keep it free from negativity and toxicity, because you know what? The only time we have is the present moment. The only time we can create from is this present moment. If we're lost in the past or future tripping, we miss the right now. And right now is the place where we create our life from. So we need to protect it, keep it sattvic. We want to create a sattvic life. That's the best place. And Prabhupada says in the Gita that when one conquers the mind, super soul is already reached. So we want to create a sattvic environment so that we can begin to hear that super soul in our hearts. Okay, go on, please. Nonviolence. So these are the principles of nonviolence. I mean, we don't have to go through them all. I just want, there's principles to nonviolence, avoiding violence to others. That means not killing others, not killing animals, avoiding violence to the earth. We're destroying the earth. Unconsciously, we're just destroying Mother Earth, and she's fighting back. She's fighting back in many natural disasters and other ways, avoiding violence to oneself. I'm going to read this because this has to do with mental health. We are violent to ourselves every time we think negative thoughts, speak negative words, or act against ourselves. Wow. Thus, nonviolence begins at home with us. Okay, everybody? You get that? All that self-beating, that self-flagellation, those mean things we say to ourselves when we make a mistake, we need to stop doing that. We need to let those things go. We need to let those things go. And that
Collapsing under the weight of the petticoat. And so there's two things.
Oh, I didn't. Is somebody trying to speak?
Go ahead, Didi.
Narada, were you trying to say something?
No, I think someone was might have been unmuted accidentally.
And then selfless giving, this is what Guru Das was saying, the Vedic care projects. When we give selflessly of ourselves and cast aside all measures of gain beyond measure. By the way, this book, all the proceeds from Book of Dharma and his other book go to Sevā projects. The author makes no money from these books at all. They're all given to build roofs on temples that are in disrepair, to feed children in Vrindavan, to do other Sevā projects. So that's like selfless giving, right? He's renounced all profits from these books. Okay, next.
I think that it's nice to know that everything starts within. I mean, everything starts within the field of the hearing now, but also everything starts from within, right? So you want to take care of yourself. You want to be loving and accepting of yourself, right? And that way, when you are aligned and connected to the source, you have a lot more to offer. You don't have much to offer when you are disconnected and you are lost in hatred and anger and resentment, right? But when you are, full of love and compassion and understanding towards others, then you do have a lot more to offer. So I think that's a good point over there.
Very good point. Very good point. And this is discipline. It's just another mysterious thing, folks. We're not talking about discipline from outside. We're not talking at all about that. This is something quite different. Can somebody read this?
Discipline. Someone who goes through the fire of discipline emerges more effulgent and potent as a result. Discipline is acting from the best place within. Effort plus direction equals right action. Discipline can manifest our purpose when living with a burning heart. Discipline is not about abusing or torturing our body, but about finding optimal balance for physical and mental well-being, while freeing oneself from inner obstacles and addictions.
Isn't that's so powerful, right? The thing is the other question before, and can everybody mute who's not talking? Then we won't get the feedback. Thank you. So You know, it's about balance, isn't it? About like I'm hearing so much feedback. Is everybody muted?
Mataji, just, Rasangi Didi, I muted everyone, so if you wouldn't mind just unmuting yourself again.
Okay, I did it. Thank you very much. Oh, now where's our slideshow? I'm glad you're hanging out, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. We're going to get our slideshow back. What I was going to say is like, it's what we need. We have to be in touch with what we need. You know, what is right for our bodies, and not be mean or mad at ourselves for what we need. You know, we have to become aware and sensitive to what's right for us, how we can work optimally in the world in a healthful way. And everybody is different. So we need to be considerate and kind to ourselves about that. So I love this living with a burning heart. And this is something I'm going to offer at the end. We've been doing a Book of Dharma study group. And it's a virtual group and we meet weekly. It's 12 weeks since there's 12 chapters in the book. And we go deep into these principles. We go very deep into the principles. There's study questions. You know, we get to really practice living these principles. And what some of us are feeling, and Gurudas is here, he's in the group, Bhumi's in the group, and so is Govinda, Dave. And so we begin to feel our purpose blossoming, and then it takes on a life of its own. We were living with a burning heart, which motivates our actions. So we just want to be busy and engaged in our service. It seems like we lose some interest in just doing the old things we used to do because nothing matches the feeling of manifesting your purpose. So when you live with that burning heart, life becomes a different kind of experience. And that's one of the promises of the teachings of Dharma, is that we will make enlightened choices and we will discover our purpose here on this planet. Isn't that a wonderful gift to understand my purpose for being here and be able to manifest it? There's nothing better, I don't think. Okay, next slide. Can somebody read that?
I will.
Okay, go ahead.
Breathing life into the Dharma code. Just as a lamp in the hand of a blind man cannot help him see, so the instructions of the sacred text yield no fruit for those who do not act on them with determination.
You have to practice it to make it work, to make it happen. Okay,
Yes.
go ahead.
Wisdom reveals itself by our practice of these truths. If we design our life in accord with the principles of Dharma, we can expect results that are vital, sustainable on all levels, and a manifestation of living wisdom. The Dharma teachings can be put in action by just about anyone.
And that's amazing because, you know, in this book, he doesn't mention Krishna. These are principles for everybody. And they were given at the inception of the universe, the inception of the creation, through Lord Brahma in his heart by Lord Vishnu. They're principles for living happily on this planet or in the universe. And they're for everybody, for Shudras, for Kshatriyas, for Brahmins, for all people, no matter what station of life they're in. They can also be happy and fulfill and go toward the ultimate goal of relationship with the Supreme. So that's what it's about. Okay, next.
And also, if you, it gives like the example of a rasayan, of a tonic, right? You have all the ingredients, and they will give a result, right? But if you don't put them all together, they won't have that potency. They won't have the required action that you are looking for, right? You won't have the right outcome if you don't put them all together. So that this is the importance of mixing them, all of them, right, and put them into practice.
Yes, that's so. Thank you so much. All 4 Dharma principles have to be utilized and worked together to achieve the concept of lift and empowerment. Okay, who wants to read this? This is more about the mind, because we're here to talk about mental health, and I think this is so on target. Who wants to read that?
I do.
Please do. Please read.
Okay, so I have to get back on Govinda Das's page. Okay. Why? I'm sorry, it's not coming up.
Okay, Raghavendu, do you want to read? You have to unmute.
Yes, unmute.
You have to unmute.
He's still not unmuted.
Your little microphone. Unmute. On the bottom.
How do we get on the page where the words are?
So if you click Govinda Das,
Yeah.
then his screen should pop up.
Okay. So in the
Hello?
Okay, I got it. Govinda Das. I'm not doing it.
Okay, let Raghavendu. You can do it in a minute.
Oh, there it goes. Came up. About the thoughts, actions, habits, and character.
Yes.
If you guard the quality of your thoughts, you can guard the quality of your actions. If you guard the quality of your actions, you can protect the quality of your habits. And if you protect the quality of your habits, you can ensure quality of character. Many of our decisions will affect us for the rest of our life. Principles of Dharma help us navigate everyday life and make intelligent choices. The Dharma Code is designed to help us create Dharma habits that lead to excellence.
So did anybody understand that? So if we can control our thoughts, as I said before, if we can, like Arjuna says, I can't control the mind. It's like impossible. And the 6th chapter, it's impossible. It's almost as hard as controlling the wind. Krishna said, no, it is possible with determination and practice. So we need to control our minds, my dear friends. That's the key to peace of mind, serenity, making good decisions. The mind controlling us it's a monkey mind. We all know that. I tell this to my clients in the treatment programs. The mind is like a monkey. It will take you all over the place. It doesn't stop from morning till night. It'll go and go and go and take all kinds of detours and make you think all kinds of things. We need to control that monkey mind. We don't want it to control us. So Dharma can help us control our minds. I think
everything starts with our thoughts. And
yes.
that's the tricky part, right? Like if we get to know that, then from the very moment of the inception of thought, then you can revise the quality of that thought, like saying, is this serving me? Is this serving a higher purpose? Or is just something that is detrimental for my life?
Absolutely, at the inception of the thought. So we learn this, and as we study the Dharma principles, and we practice it, and we report back to each other. How did it go this week? Controlling your mind. And people share that with each other. And thus we gain practice. Like Krishna says, practice and determination. We begin to be the control of the mind, not have it control us. And then it's our best friend, right? I mean, we're not making this up. Krishna talks about it. The whole 6th chapter, I love, my favorite chapter, because it's all about the mind and how to control it. Okay, next slide. And habits of excellence. I think what is most important here is that we are instructed in Dharma to do everything we do to the best of our ability, not half like way. We want to do everything as best as we can. And that's showing Krishna, I'm trying to serve you with everything I have, body, mind, and words, with these 3 strands of beads around my neck, body, mind, and words. I'm doing everything to the best of my ability, not beyond. I can only do what I can do, to the best I can do to serve, and thus we feel the reciprocation. Okay, next slide. So there's 3 kinds of universal teachers. And by the way, this is Ramanujacharya and Vyasadeva.
And Madhvacharya.
Madhvacharya and
Vyasadeva, Srila Vyasadeva.
Srila Vyasadeva, our disciplic succession. So the universal teacher. Does somebody want to read that? Raghavendra, read it, please.
The universal teacher. The inner guide, the universal teacher exists first and foremost within our heart. The mentor, to be able to reach us, universal teacher, sometimes manifests in our life as a caring, benevolent mentor. This can take the form of a parent, teacher, or advisor who helps us on the path of Dharma. The environment, everything within the environment is actually helping us on our journey to wisdom. Everything is sympathetic to us from all sides. It takes a special awareness to actually perceive this.
So we all know about the 24 gurus that is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. 24 gurus, the moon, the sun, the wind, all of these are teachers. There's lessons to be learned from all of them.
And this reinstates the importance of the inward looking perception, right? If you look inward, if you go within, you're going to find the answers there, because there's Paramatma, that it's that infinitesimal part of God, part and parcel of Krishna that lives within you, that it's guiding you. So if you just quiet your mind and go within and try to go inward, all the answers will be there.
That's what I tell my clients also. I work with pregnant and new mothers who are addicted to substances, who are trying to keep custody of their children. And we're helping them by teaching them skills, DBT and these kind of skills to help them heal. So I find that it's very hard for them to close their eyes and go within. But that's really where healing starts, by being able to go within and listen and quiet the mind, as Govinda was saying. We do all kinds of mindful exercises using the breath to calm ourselves down. We do some of that in our Book of Dharma study group also. We'll do some breath work and things to help us become able to go within and stay within and listen from within. Listen to that guidance from within our hearts.
It's also about how do you perceive things, right? You can see the glass full, half full or half empty, right? And from that, it will depend the quality of your emotions and of your thoughts. Actually, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Prabhupada used to say that the environment, it's always favorable. So it's just always to try to look the upside of everything, right? Like it's not the same saying like I am poor than saying like I'm looking forward to have more money or to have more, right? So it really depends on that quality of how you're able to interact with your surroundings, right? And making it from a place that it's steady and healthy from within.
Love it. Thank you so much.
And also, Didi, I mean, in my work as a physical therapist, I oftentimes, deal with people who are in pain. I mean, these, off the charts. If you ask 0 to 10, what's your pain level? 10 being the worst, they say I'm a 15.
Wow.
So it's interesting when you get to see people who are just in the most sort of a dark place where they perseverate on their pain, and that is really becomes the focus of their life, and they become hopeless, they become weak, all of the things that Srila Gurudev has taught us not to become. Even though the world is sort of chaotic and full of suffering and all of these things, but still to see the light, to see the things in the world as Govindas Guru was saying, as favorable, to see things as, as being more positive and as more of a blessing rather than a curse,
Yes.
as opposed to saying, woe is me, and why did this happen to me? That let me see the opportunity in this. What can I learn? So oftentimes, we have to sort of redirect patients and really try to hone in on what they've achieved as opposed to what they're still lacking.
Also, I think it has to do with the fact that we have been programmed to be like not putting ourselves in the first place all the time, and also we're being programmed to accept that condition, right? And to see always to put ourselves in the place of a victim, right? We're not a victim. We're here to learn. We're here to experience and to expand. And this is what that's the reason that we are here for. I mean, we could be on pain and saying like, oh, I hate this body, or we could be on pain and saying like, thank you, Krishna, because all this pain, it's just teaching me that we're not this body, that there's something else beyond this. But it really takes some determination and some practice, as Prasangi Didi was saying.
Wonderful. Thank you. How about the next slide? Somebody else has something to say? No. Next slide. Okay, who wants to read this?
The esoteric secrets of the Dharma Code. Dharma is about living with great skill. The purpose of the Dharma Code is to help us become enlightened and free from illusion. The Dharma Code helps us engage with life in a particular way, one that generates vitality and manifests our highest potential. Guided by the Dharma Code, we are able to fulfill our primary duty in life, our duty of happiness.
Oh, amazing. So becoming free of illusion, vitality, burning heart, just potential. If we all receive, we're able to realize our potential. What an amazing gift that is, huh? Purpose, potential. And the next slide, I think we have some Shastric evidence after this. Oh, so let's read these. These are Shastric quotes talking about Dharma and the Dharma bull. So who wants to read that?
I'll read. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Shastric references and quotes. Yato dharmas tato jaya. Where Dharma is, there is victory. Where Dharma is,
there is
victory. There is victory.
That's true.
Right. Mahabharat.
That's okay. Just read the quote down below.
Dharma destroys those who destroy it. Dharma protects those who protect it. That's from the Mahabharata.
Yeah.
31:14 and 128 and Manu Smriti.
How about next slide?
Bhakti is the dearest possession of one who adheres to truth by body, mind, and words. That's from the Sri Narada Bhakti Sutra, 81. If one is unhappy to see the distress of other living beings and happy to see their happiness. One's dharma is recognized as imperishable by great personalities of virtuous renown. Bhagavad Purana 6, not 10:9. See also Mahabharata 5:36-16. Shall I go on?
Sure.
Srimad Bhagavatam states that by applying Dharma principles, a person pleases Vishnu in the Bhagavad Purana 7:11, 8-12. Truth alone triumphs, not falsehood. And that's from the Mundaka Upanishad 3:16. This is the sum of Dharma. Do not to others which would cause you pain if done to you. Mahabharata. That's also a Christian.
It's also in different traditions. It's also in the Jewish tradition, the Christian tradition. You can find it, and also on Mohammedan tradition. So it's very brings us.
Universal.
These dharmic teachings are universal, exactly.
Okay, next slide. Pretty cool, huh? Let's go on. I love this.
Okay, do you want me to keep reading?
Sure, Bhumi.
Okay. Veda pranava avagre dharmoham vrisharupadrik upashate taponishta hamsam mam mukta kilbishaha. Translation. In Satya Yuga, the undivided Veda is expressed by the syllable Om, and I am the only object of mental activities. I become manifest as the four-legged bull of religion, and thus the inhabitants of Satya Yuga, fixed in austerity and free from all sins, worship me as Lord Hamsa. Purport. The bull of religion is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:17-24. Tapa socham daya sacham iti pada krite krita. In the age of Satya, truthfulness, your four legs were established by the four principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. Sri Vyasadeva divided the one Veda into four: the Rig, Yajur, Sam, and Atharva Vedas. At the end of Dwapara Yuga, but in Satya Yuga, the whole of Vedic knowledge is easily understood by everyone simply by vibrating the syllable Om. In this age, there are no ritualistic or pious activities such as sacrifice, since everyone is sinless, austere, and fully engaged in worshiping the personality of Godhead, Lord Hamsa, through the process of meditation.
What I loved about this was Krishna says, I become manifest as a four-legged bull of religion in the Satya Yuga, with all four legs intact. And now, as Kali Yuga progresses, those legs are, as we know, have been diminished and broken. But my understanding is that this state can be restored if people begin to live dharmically. And the more people chant Hare Krishna, live dharmically, we can have a revival of a golden period during this Kali Yuga, right? Prabhupada called it 10,000 years. All right, I think that's it. And now let's bring the people back, take off that. And if people have questions, we'd love to hear them. Any comments that anybody has? Love to hear that too. Love to hear from you, everybody. If you want to unmute and say hello and just give your feedback, that would be awesome.
So I think that part of the mental health issues that we're living nowadays are due to the fact that we are gravitating more in the energy of the problem than in the energy of the solution, right? And Krishna gives us the power, or gives us the ability to gravitate or to choose in between. We can choose between the energy of the problem or between the energy of the solution. So why not to focus on the energy of the solution, right? And start thinking on the solution rather than in the problems. And as we know, the ultimate solution is Krishna, right? And if we get to focus the most of the time on that solution and on that energy, on Krishna's energy, then pretty much our problems will be taken care of. Just like by watering the root of the tree, all the branches will be nourished.
Govinda, I wonder if you might share a little bit about where you were at emotionally and mentally when you came in touch with Dharma teachings.
Yeah, actually, I was in a very, very bad position. I was struggling with lots of personal situations, health conditions. It was I was in a very bad shape, to put it somehow. But by getting in touch with these principles, I was able to discover that there was something else, right? That there was a lot more to my life than just like a routine, or just expecting to see what was coming next, right? I got to understand that I had the power to shape my work, right? And that I had the power to make decisions to improve my life and to improve the lives of the people that are surrounding me, right? So I have witnessed the power of these principles, like not even fully engaging and practicing them. They have so many benefits to your life. And the most special thing is that when I was going through all these issues, sometimes, as devotees, they will say, "Oh, Prabhu, you need to go ahead and chant." No, sometimes you need to go ahead and find for support. Sometimes you need for someone to listen to you and to care about you. And sometimes as devotees, we think that might be a little silly, right? Or a little like not worthy of trying. But I think that those are the misconceptions that we need to clear, right? That we all need to be taken care of and being accepted and loved as well. So that's pretty much a little bit of my story. I could definitely say that this book saved my life. And I was going through some very bad moments, and this just pulled me off the well.
And Radha, I know that you asked about NAMI. I think it's a fabulous, amazing organization. We have an active NAMI here, and my family has been through some of their classes, and it's free, and you get an education about what's going wrong with you, what is wrong with your family member that you love. There's different groups for different people dealing with mental health issues, and they're just precious, they're priceless, wonderful people. Yeah, and I'm glad to hear that you have devotees going to that.
Yeah, and it helps to normalize the feelings when you see a devotee is teaching the class as well. So it's like, yes, I've been through this with my daughter, I've been through this in different ways. So it helped me, it can help you. So in other words, we don't have to recreate everything from scratch. If you're in the United States, there's 650 NAMI affiliates across the states. There's probably one in every region.
Amazing organization. I'm so happy they survived, and they kept even going during the pandemic virtually. They were virtual.
And we actually discovered that doing the classes on Zoom meant that, let's say there's one person with a mental illness and their family members want to come to the class, but they live in multiple states. They can all be in the same class on Zoom. So it turned out to be a real blessing.
And as Govinda Prabhu was saying, we like sometimes, this is my karma, I'm meant to suffer. I'm burning off karma, but not really. We can get help we need and then be a much more better service, if we're in good shape. And to see our children suffer, there's nothing worse than seeing your child suffer. So getting the help for them that they need. I think sometimes we don't do things because we don't know what to do. But now we're here, we're talking, the conversation is going. No devotee should feel that it's off limits to get help, that they just have to suffer. It's my karma. Let's spread the word that Krishna wants us healthy and strong so we can spread the mission. We can preach to others and help elevate the planet.
Yes, if we're strong ourselves, then we can reach outside. So support groups means you identify that, I'm not the only one who's thinking this. And that means we're not alone. That's why they're wonderful. One time, there was somebody in London, and he was having suicidal and difficult, and I brought him to a psychiatrist who worked with Ronnie Lang. And Yogeswara went with me, and he said, why are you doing that? Krishna consciousness takes care of everything. And I just looked at him and said, someday you'll understand. And now he telephones me and says, now I understand.
I hear him speak on the missing pieces of Krishna consciousness and caring for one another and giving each other the help we need is one of those things he talks about.
I like fellow Jitzer's comment, or question. He or she is saying, one of the reasons I'm here is to understand how to cultivate mental wellness practices in my own life and not feel it is taking the place of my bhakti practice. So I think it's important to talk a little bit about the spiritual bypass, right? Like if you know and if you're aligned with yourself and with Krishna, that it's the source, right? If you're in alignment with that, everything that you will do will be seva, because you're not doing it for your own egoistical reasons. You're doing it to serve Krishna, right? And you're not. If you take care of your own self, if you take care of your body, then you have a vehicle to be able to do seva and to serve Krishna. If you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to achieve that, right? So.
Yes.
And I like what you say, by the way. If anybody doesn't know what a spiritual bypass is, I would Google it. And it's done in many churches and spiritual groups, sometimes even in 12-step programs, where people go to a very high place. They're aspiring for a very high place, but they neglect what's here. They neglect to deal with what is going on in their lives and relationships. That's a spiritual bypass. And that definitely will bring us down and hold us back and impede our growth, impede our spiritual growth. We're meant to deal with issues. We're meant to deal effectively with life. And then we can continue on our upward journey. But to ignore it, like you were saying, false renunciation never worked. You know what I mean? And this comes day, fall down again.
Yes. And also there's no contradiction to use other modalities in healing and Krishna consciousness, because Krishna gives us our talents. And if we don't use our natural talents, we might as well be karmis looking at the clock, not liking our job. Our job is bhakti yoga. So that means your natural propensities and talents, that's what you should do. Follow your heart. Then it's joyous. You're doing what you love. There's no separation with work and play.
And there are so many verses there's so many ways Krishna says, do, and a Prabhupada also. I have one friend, Madhusudan Bloomer, Kanchan Bala and Madhusudan, that every time he'd go to Prabhupada, said, Prabhupada, what can I do for you? He said, what do you want to do for Krishna? No, Prabhupada, what can I do for you? What do you want to do for Krishna? You know what I mean? We have to be able to generate that within ourselves. What are my talents? What are my gifts? What do I feel inspired by? And offer it to Krishna as service. So this question about cultivating mental wellness practices in my life it has to go hand in hand, Prabhu. I don't know if you're a lady or a man, but hand in hand. It's not separate, as Gurudas was saying. We want to cultivate health and wellness, being the healthiest person I can be. At the same time, I get up every day and chant my rounds. You know, I don't want to neglect that either.
And as Gurudas Prabhu was saying, like all tools, like all tools, like they could be technological, whatever. Like for example, social media, right? It was brought up by a gambler, as Gurudas Prabhu was saying, right? But if we use them with the right energy, it will bring different results, right? And we could see like those the tools that you just presented, right? These principles of Dharma, they seem like something really mundane, right? Like telling the truth, non being violent, but those are bona fide, and those are powerful tools, right? Those are powerful things that we have to reach out to.
And not only that, they're given by the Lord. They're his instructions for living a happy life. That's what it says in Bhagavad Gita. Like, they're given to us so that we can be happy on this planet. We weren't meant to suffer. We're meant to develop our love of God, love of Krishna, and be happy and fulfilled. And then the decline causes us to be more miserable and suffer, but we don't have to. And we're not meant to be that way. We're not meant to be that way. Fellow Jitsu, did we answer your question? Or do you have any other questions? And I just want to offer you again, I would like to start another Book of Dharma study group. If anybody was interested in that, Govinda, Dave has my email address and oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. I'd love to know who you are if you'd like to say hi. If not, I understand. But he's going to give my email address and my phone number. If anybody's interested in the Book of Dharma study group, and Gurudas, you can speak to it. Anybody wants to speak, Bhumi's in it. We've benefited because we're doing it together. It's an amazing way to have Sangha. And a little camera shy. So there's my information. Please connect with me if you'd like more information about the next Dharma group. There will be some donation requested for the time involved, and I'm also available to do some individual work with people if they like, if they need that as well. 12 weeks, an hour and a half a week on virtual, and we have a slideshow. And the book, again, is Book of Dharma by Simon Haas. You can order it from Amazon if you'd like, and then stay in touch with us. And thank you so much for being here. Pass the word. This will be available on recording. You're going to post it somewhere, Anuradha?
Yes, Didi, I right after this, I will be posting on YouTube and sharing on Facebook and things. So yeah, but thank you both so much for your time, for your expertise, for just all of your wealth of knowledge, your experience with Srila Prabhupada, the Shastric evidences, just really honing in on the point that, you know, both these modalities for mental wellness and health are just as important for our material condition and handling that material condition and our karmic situations as is our spiritual practice. So we need both to be able to function efficiently and to dive deeper even in our spiritual practices. So I'm so grateful for both of you, and thank you all so much for all of those who attended. Thank you all so much. You know, we wish that we had more, but still, regardless, even if one person was affected, this is the goal.
So what did Prabhupada say, Gurudas, when then nobody showed up at the hall?
Yeah, if the performers outnumber the audience, it's not a great sign. But Prabhupada gave a rousing talk and everything, and we did a rousing kirtan. And he said, well, Narada Muni was here and all the demigods. So
where was that?
I forget where it was.
It was
In the
in
universe.
Boston, I think. One of the venues in Boston.
But was Guru
Uh-huh.
Das in Boston?
No.
Because that was at the Arlington Street Church in Boston. But it may have been other places too, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Prabhupada would say that whenever that happened.
Yeah.
Maybe in London also.
Yeah.
And we just do our best, like I said, and Krishna's in charge of the results. That's the way we stay happy. We're not attached to results. We just do the best we can and offer it.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Radha, for coming.
Thank you.
Jitsu.
Thank you all.
Good
Haribol.
to
Thank you,
see
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Be
Radha.
strong.
Remember that the fun is in the process. Haribol.
Haribol.
Oh, Haribo.
Dandavat Pranam.
Oh, I was going to say.